Have you ever prayed for the opportunity and then questioned yourself the moment you got in the room? You asked for the seat. You asked for the chance. You asked for the platform. And then the moment it arrived, you got quieter, smaller, more hesitant. Not because you weren't capable, but because being seen at the level you prayed for started exposing the insecurity you never had to confront before. And today, we're going to talk about how to stop shrinking in rooms you've prayed to enter. All right, family, welcome back to Movement According to Purpose, the podcast where we align our lives, our decisions, and our leadership with purpose. I'm your host, Q. And first of all, I just want to thank you all for being on this journey with me. We're about 6 episodes in, I think. And, it's just been meaningful that you are just listening. I'm grateful. My heart is warmed knowing that this message is reaching someone and then you're exchanging the message with someone else. And so that's just all I wanted to do. So I just want to thank you all from the depths of my heart for being on this journey with me. So today we're going to be talking about what happens when your opportunity arrives, but your confidence hasn't caught up yet. Because sometimes the hardest part is not getting in the room. It's staying present once you get there. It's not the access, it's the exposure, the visibility, the pressure, the internal voice that starts asking if you really belong here. And if you've ever found yourself downplaying your value, second-guessing your voice, or shrinking in spaces you worked hard to enter, this episode is for you. So today we're going to talk about 3 things. Why bigger rooms expose deeper insecurities, how shrinking shows up in subtle ways, and how to stay grounded when your next level requires visibility. By the end of this episode, you'll stop treating access like an accident and start carrying yourself like you belong where you prayed to be. All right, family, let's start here. The room did not create your insecurity. It revealed it. And that matters. And you want to know why it matters? Because many people walk into new opportunities and immediately assume the discomfort means they're not ready. That's not always true. Sometimes discomfort is not a sign you're underqualified. It's a sign you've entered a space that is exposing beliefs you've never had to challenge before. In smaller rooms, your insecurity can hide. In familiar places and spaces, it can blend in. But in bigger rooms with more visibility, more responsibility, more expectation, whatever you believe about yourself gets amplified. So if deep down, you believe, I'm not enough, I don't belong here, I need to prove myself before I can relax, that belief gets louder when the room gets bigger. Not because the room is rejecting you, because the room is revealing what still needs to be healed. And this is where many people misread the moment. They assume discomfort means they don't belong, when often discomfort is simply the friction of growth meeting old identity. The room is not too big for you. It's just forcing you to confront what you've been carrying. Let me ask y'all something. What if this room is not exposing your inadequacy, but exposing the belief that you've been underestimating yourself? That question changes the posture of how you approach all this. Because once you stop misreading discomfort, you can start noticing how shrinking actually shows up. You see, family, Most people think shrinking is obvious. It's not. Shrinking is subtle. It rarely looks dramatic. It usually looks adaptive. It looks like this: downplaying your ideas before anyone can challenge them, apologizing for taking up space, over-explaining to justify your presence, staying quiet when you have something valuable to say, and playing small so you don't risk being judged big. That's what shrinking often sounds like. Not silence, self-minimizing. And the dangerous part is, it can feel humble, it can feel safe, it can even feel strategic. But often it's insecurity wearing humility as camouflage. That's the truth. There's a difference between humility and self-erasure. Humility says, I know I have more to learn. Self-erasure says, let me disappear so I don't get exposed. Those are not the same thing. And if you confuse shrinking with humility, you will keep abandoning yourself in the name of being likable. You do not have to perform smallness to be palatable. You do not have to dilute your presence to make others comfortable. You do not have to disappear to be accepted. Ask yourself this question: where have you been calling it humility when it has really been fear? Well, I'm just trying to stay humble. I used to be like that, you know. I'm just going to be humble. I'm not going to say anything. And humbleness is a great attribute to have. We all should have it. But oftentimes, we use that as a front for fear. And after you ask yourself that question, that answer will show you where you've been shrinking. So again, ask yourself that question: where have I been calling it humility? In what spaces, in what places have I been calling it humility when it has really been fear? And that's going to show you where you've been shrinking. And once you recognize the pattern, the next step is learning how to stay grounded without performing. I want y'all to understand something, family. The goal is not to become louder. The goal is to become more grounded. That's the shift. Because confidence is not performance. Confidence is presence. It is the ability to stay connected to yourself even while being seen. See, I know I'm challenging some thought patterns here, and that's okay, because I'm going to repeat that again. The shift is confidence is not performance. Confidence is presence. It is the ability to stay connected to yourself even while being seen. So how do you stop shrinking? You know, I love it when y'all ask questions. Step 1, you stop treating access like an accident. You were not in the room by mistake. You may still have more to learn. You may still be growing, but access is not always accident. Sometimes it is evidence. Step 2, let your body catch up to the room. Slow down. Breathe. Sit fully in the chair. Stop rushing your words. Presence is practiced physically before it becomes emotional. Step 3, speak before you overthink. Not recklessly, but honestly. Because overthinking often turns confidence into hesitation. Say the thing, offer the idea, ask the question. I get it. We always say you should think before you speak. I'm not saying to abandon that. But what I'm saying is to caution yourself in overthinking. Sometimes we have the ability to talk ourselves out of the promise. All right? Think before you speak, but don't overthink. before you speak. Y'all got it? Step 4, anchor in contribution, not performance. Now, before I get into this, y'all know people out there, and we use the word performative. Oh, you're just in this relationship performing. You're just in this position performing, not contributing anything, just performing. So what I want you to do is anchor yourself in contribution and not performance. This is not a performative endeavor. So stop asking, how am I being perceived? And start asking, what value am I here to add? You have value. You can add some value to any situation. So ask yourself, what value am I here to add? That question is going to shift you from self-consciousness to service. And service is what stabilizes presence. You've seen people who just love to serve, and they have a presence about themselves because of their passion and love of service. I want you to shift from thinking about being self-conscious about yourself into a place of service, so that service will stabilize your presence. You do not need to be the most impressive person in the room. That's not what this is about. You just need to be fully present in it. All right, so let's bring this home, family. The room is not asking you to become someone else. It is asking you to stop abandoning yourself in spaces that require more of you. Remember this: bigger rooms reveal insecurity. They do not create it. Shrinking is subtle and often disguises itself as humility. And confidence in new rooms is not performance. It is grounded presence. You do not need to become louder. You do need to become more anchored. That is how you stop shrinking. So here's the call to action, because you know I got to have some accountability associated with this, right? If this episode challenged something in you, I want you to share it with someone, learning how to take up space without apology. Subscribe to the podcast, leave a review if you can, and send this to people who have been invited into the room, but are still learning how to stay in it. And this week, here's your homework for this week. I want you to ask yourself, where do I need to stop performing small and start practicing presence? Start there. Because the next episode, we're going to be talking about how to trust yourself again after ignoring your own red flags. And if you've been rebuilding after self-betrayal because of all that self-consciousness and shrinking of yourself, that conversation is for you. This is Movement According to Purpose, where we don't just talk about purpose, we live it. Hey, I've appreciated you all tuning in. Until next time, much love, peace, and blessings. Peace out, y'all.